Hello, hello. Can someone please let me know if they can see me and hear me? We are going to do our best to make it through this webinar, but what's happening right now is that everyone in the world is literally at home on their internet. So it's a struggle sometimes for things. If someone would please pop in and just leave a little message for me in the comments that you can hear me, you can see me, something, anything would be great. So it's doing the same thing again on my end where it is not basically it has stopped trying to do anything. So I'm gonna it stopped showing me comments. That's awesome. Twice now. Let's see, maybe if I close the chat and open it back up again, it'll do something. Nope. All right, you can see and hear me. I reset it, and you know what? I'm just not even going to try and do slides because apparently every time the system is so overloaded that every time I try and do slides, it like stops it on my end. So I have created the slides. I'm going to go through some slides, and what I'm going to do is in a couple minutes, I'm going to add the link to the slides in the chat box so that you all can click on those slides and follow along with me. Okay. So what I would appreciate is if when you get to the slides, if you would try and keep where I am with the slides, that'd be amazing because I think it auto forwards on the Google presentations. Anyway, we'll figure it all out together. Okay, hello everybody. It's so glad to see you. Listen, the reason I decided to do this webinar kind of last minute was that we have a real opportunity right now. If there is an interest in writing and publishing books, like this is a phenomenal opportunity to actually take that momentum and go with it. So I'm going to just give another minute or so for people to get in here before we get started. But I think that, sometimes we need to be reminded that the world is going to keep going. And even though it feels to some of us, I know some people are far less impacted than others. I have friends and people in my community who are still going to work. And although it's a lot quieter out there, like their days, there are some communities that haven't been hardly touched at all and other communities that are on full on lockdown. So where we are, we're basically schools have been canceled. We're hearing rumors till the end of the year, which is a bit nutty, but I'm trying not to get overly excited about that. We are about this far away from a full-on shelter in place type order. Most government agencies as of today are sending everybody to work from home and all of that stuff. So, where I am surrounded by other entrepreneurs and small business owners and moms with children at home with us, like there's a lot of panic and a lot of frenzy and a lot of feeling very anxious. And I don't know about you guys, but my email has been blowing up with everybody under the sun who I've ever come in contact with, sending me how they're going to respond to COVID-19 plan. And and it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming, and there's just so much going on. So I wanted to bring us back to just a safe space where we can talk about the things that we like to do, which is writing. And some people, we'll get into this in the slides in just a minute, so maybe I should just stop writing there. Okay, can everybody still hear me? I'm assuming yes, because nobody has said we can't hear you. But okay, awesome. Sorry, I know I asked that a lot, but we've had such problems with technology recently. I don't want to just assume that things are going on as normal when in reality, nobody has any, connectivity to me. Okay, great. Awesome. Well, here we go. It's good to see all of you from around so many different places. I'm glad you were able to hang out with us today. And we are going to talk primarily about why now is a good time to write your book and why you have this opportunity in front of you. And we'll spend a little bit of time there. And then the most of the time, we're going to talk about the hows, some tools, some resources, how you might get started if you don't know how to do that. And if you're already writing, then the next part of that is going to be just a little bit of an overview of some things to think about in terms of timeline and other elements to consider in the writing journey. So this is based largely, I see a couple of people are already writing. Awesome. Stick around. Maybe you can contribute to the conversation if you have resources or tools or things that you're seeing. And for those of you who are brand new, either just starting the writing process or even thinking about the writing process, I'm going to try to keep it down at a very basic level, and then provide some resources on how I can continue to help you in this journey. You know, the Canadians are really enjoying this lately. I don't know if Canadian women are just on this huge, like, we're all going to write books and having this, like, what's it called? Not a revolution, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like starting a movement to get all these books out or whatever. But I'm so happy to hear that there's a bunch of you from Canada joining us right now. So I don't know what to do about the echo. That may be, is it echoing for everyone? Okay, so it may be that, Doris, it's an echo from your system. So thank you for the confirmation on that. I would try and either put in some earbuds or something else. Maybe if you have it up on more than one thing, on more than one screen, that might be causing the echo as well. All right, let's get into it, okay? So like I said, I have some official slides if you want to follow along the slides with me. I see a couple of my very loyal fans on here. So bear with me as you get to hear my introduction again. If you click on this link or copy and paste this link, it should take you over to the slides that I'm going to go through. And that way, even though I am speaking to you and you're just seeing my face, this should take you exactly over to the presentation. I just checked the link and it is working. Okay, so let's go through this. Let's talk about just a big picture thing here. Now, when I'm over in the slideshow, I can't see your questions. Please ask me questions. There, you can use either the chat box or the official question box. I'm going to hop back and forth between my slides and the presentation, but I'm going to go through a few slides and then I'll check over and see what's going on. Or if nothing else, I will answer all questions at the end. So on slide 2, over 80% of people want to write a book. But in the last major study that was done on this, only about 2% actually make it happen. Now, granted, I believe this study was done a few years ago, and I'm going to guess that that 2% is a larger percent right now, because self-publishing has made it so much easier for more people to publish. Many, many, many more people have actually made it come true. But I think this 2%, just based on my own view of the industry, is only 2% actually make it happen successfully. And by I say successfully is that they have the tools to make sure they're marketing their book and getting their book in front of the right people and doing all of those things. And I guess this depends on your view of success, because if your view of success is literally putting your book on Amazon, then that's a little bit different than someone who becomes a bestseller or even like New York Times bestseller, etc. So let's just stick with the idea that almost everyone wants to write a book at some point in time in their life. Almost everyone has said, "Oh, I'd like to write a book," or "Oh, that's cool." And a very small percentage of those people achieve the entire like gamut of getting the book out there and being successful with their book. Okay. I think it's super important when we are in a creative industry to always think about the end and keeping the end in mind. As Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. And this is really important because when we're dreamers and creatives are dreamers, if you are here and you are a business owner and your goal is to write a book to grow your business, you're still a dreamer, even if you're writing your book for a very practical reason. You are dreaming of another revenue stream, maybe a tool to help you really establish yourself as the expert, or maybe maybe get you those speaking gigs that you've always been dreaming of. But either way, we have dreams when we decide we're going to do something big like this, right? And along the way in our journey, there are going to be road bumps that make it a lot more difficult. So you have to remember why it is that you're doing this so that you can keep on track. So I encourage you to fully dream. Don't let the panic of what is happening today slow you down. Don't let the panic of the current forecast for everything that's happening quell your dreams. What is it that you want most in the world? What do you want to accomplish with anything, and how is a book going to help you get there? It might be that you've always wanted to have your book read by teachers in front of anxious, excited school children. It might be that you want to share how you lost 85 pounds in 6 months just simply by changing your diet. It might be that you want to write the world's best next thriller book that's going to eventually become made into a movie. It might be that you've just always dreamed about having a book in your hand that you did. It might be that you have all of your grandma's recipes and you don't want those to be lost or not shared with the world. So you're going to put those all together in a book. So there are lots and lots of reasons, and those dreams should keep you focused and encouraged to move forward. So we always start out with tell them what we're going to tell at the beginning of a presentation. So our goal here today is to talk about why now, which we're kind of weaving in and out, and then provide those tools to help you get started. So in this, I want everybody to know that you have everything you need to start right now. Just by having knowledge or ideas or creative thoughts or any of those things, by having a pen and paper or a Word doc or any of those things, you can start. There is nothing between you and starting except for mindset blocks and things that you allow to not be a priority in writing. And that's why now is such a great time, because a lot of us are literally in our homes with not a whole lot of other stuff happening around us. I mean, yes, we may be trying to homeschool children and all of those things, but we've got more time than we typically have because we're not grocery shopping as much. We're not going to sporting events. We're not taking our kids to dance. We're not meeting up for drinks with our girlfriends. We're not going to board meetings and all these things. Like, we are home and with our thoughts. So in general, what I'm going to talk to you also later on is the understanding the big picture process, just so that you can kind of know what you're getting into. I'm talking about, we may get into some other experts that can help you. And I'm not really going to go into marketing today. We just did a big webinar on marketing, so I'm not going to go there today. Okay, so who am I? For those of you who maybe came to the Women in Publishing Summit Facebook page and saw the ad for this presentation and don't know me from anyone, I'm Alexa Bigwarf. Primarily, I'm a wife and mother. But in addition to that, I wear many, many hats. I am an advocate. I am a very strong advocate for women's issues and children. I am a writer. I'm an author coach. I am a book publisher. I am a book publishing coach. I am a podcast host. I am many things. I am the host of the Women in Publishing Summit, where I get to the joy of bringing together resources for women who have the same passion that I do, which is to share a message with the world and to get our words out there, no matter what your reason, no matter what your format of your book, no matter whether it's fiction, nonfiction, children's book, memoir, whatever it is. If you have that passion to get it out there, I love being a part of that process. Okay, so yes, someone asked if I will tell you which slides we're on. Is everybody still with me? I just popped back over here. Let's see here. I am on the slide that talks about me right now. So slide, Alexa Bigwarf, mom, author, publisher, coach. Moving on. My why is this little gal right here. Catherine Bigwarf was my fourth child. She was an identical twin to my third child, Karis. And we were very surprised to learn that we were having identical twins. And by the time we got over the shock of having the fact that we had a bonus baby, we learned that they were very sick. And hey, can somebody just pop back in and make sure you're all still with me? We Okay, ignore the slides, Monica. Just listen to me if the slides aren't working. Okay, everybody's still here. If slides aren't working, I will send you the link and they will pull up later. I'll also attach the PDF. Okay. Like I said, I'm a little paranoid about technology right now. So when I don't see anything popping up, I'm like, oh no, it's happened again. I'm just talking away and there's no presentation happening here. So one thing I dream of is having a normal world where things are functioning well. Okay, someone says I'm frozen. Okay, the slides I'm not pulling up because the last time I pulled up a presentation, it froze the whole thing. So I attached a link. Don't worry about the slides right now. I will email out the slides to you later. Just focus on the content. Okay, we're gonna have a chit chat. But so Catherine, unfortunately, was born premature with her sister, very premature, and they were both very, very sick. And 2 days after they were born, she passed away. So that is such an important part of my story because it began everything that I am doing today. And many people will ask me why I started blogging under the name Cat Biggie, why my Twitter handle is Cat Biggie, why I started a publishing house called Cat Biggie Press, Cat with a K, Katbiggie. And that is because originally I took to blogging as a way to write, to heal, to express all of my emotions and my feelings. And I wasn't sure that I wanted to share those feelings with the whole world openly. So I created a pen name as Cat Biggie for Catherine Bigwolf, and it has evolved since then. So where I began in that journey obviously was blogging and just expressing all of my feelings and emotions. And eventually I decided that I wanted to take it to the next level and to write a book for grieving mothers. So pulled a bunch of people together. We created Sunshine After the Storm, a survival guide for the grieving mother. I dug in to learn everything that I could about publishing. We had a very specific mission. We accomplished the book in a very short timeline. And to this day, we have distributed thousands of copies at no charge to mothers who need it in their greatest time of need, and caretakers, caregivers, other loved ones who want to support grieving mothers. So my why, when things got tough, when the timeline got short, when I was getting up at 5 a.m. while my other three children were still sound asleep and hammering away at the keyboard and learning how to lay out the book and to figure out how to load it to Amazon and all of those things, my why was that I needed to help someone who was in the same horrible situation that I had been in, and that kept me going when things were really, really difficult for me. So, all right, I take a deep breath here. Okay. So, I started writing more books after that point in time. I really fell in love with the process. I had become an author. I was passionate about it. And as I started publishing more books, people started coming to me and asking me how I was doing it, which was a great opportunity for me to unintentionally build a business. So that's how Write, Publish, Sell came along. Then eventually I started publishing more authors under my publishing house, Cat Biggie Press. We started getting children's book authors coming to us all the time. So I decided I was going to learn that route, and we established Purple Butterfly Press. And then I decided, those are both hybrid presses. I decided I wanted to try a traditional press. So we launched Chrysalis Press and published our first traditionally published fiction book, literary fiction, in December, called After December by Casey Whitener. So it's been quite a journey, and it brings me a lot of joy to help other authors down this path because, while I started writing for a very specific reason, I had always wanted to be a writer, and now the doors are wide open, and I am working on multiple books right now, both nonfiction and fiction. I have so many ideas in my head. And as I'm sitting here in the evenings, or as I'm sitting here, whenever I'm not doing work and working with my children and hanging out and doing all those other things, there's some free time. So I'm on the why now slide for anybody who is following along the slides. And my biggest question, it would be, why not? If there, okay, there are a couple of people. If you're in the medical or healthcare profession, this is probably not a good time for you to try and start writing a book. If you are in the grocery industry, there are certain, if you're in public health and safety and emergency management, this is probably not the best time for you to try and start a book because you are busy right now. But for the rest of us that are sitting in our homes and wondering what to do with this free time, there's the, you can either, I've seen different takes on this. I've seen some people say, some people hearing all these messages of use all this time and lose 70 pounds and get healthy and do this and do that, and don't overwhelm yourself. But if writing a book has always been a dream of yours and you can carve out 30 minutes to an hour to 2 hours every single day now, when there's not a lot of other distractions going on in your life, it will allow you to set this habit in your life that you are normally too busy to try and create. And hands down, the number one reason why I hear people not moving forward with their book project is because they just don't have the time. Well, now the time has been given to us. And I think the best thing that for most of us who are healthy and just staying away from the public, the best thing that we can do with that time is to decide what it is that we wanted to do. My best friend lives in France, and I haven't, we communicate over WhatsApp. I've been keeping up with her, and I asked her, how are things going? I know you're working from home and all of this. And she was like, it's kind of awesome because I'm taking this time and I'm doing all the things on my list that I wanted to do. I'm getting my garden box built and I'm doing all of this stuff, and I've reorganized our pantry, and she's a neat freak, so she likes things very organized, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And that's really, I think, the healthiest thing that we can do for ourselves right now. Instead of staying glued to the news and seeing how many new cases have popped up in the last 30 minutes, what is it that we want to accomplish? And if you're here, I assume you want to try and write a book. And from the reader side, people need something to distract them. For me, as a voracious reader, I know I love getting lost in a good book, a good TV series too. So, and that's another writing avenue right there, is writing film scripts and TV spots and, other serial podcasts that are storytelling. Like that's the cool thing too about writing, is that it doesn't have to be on paper in a novel. It can be blogs, it can be all kinds of fun things, but you have the opportunity to take the time and to start getting those ideas out into the world for you and for others, as a way to really to help as well, giving people something other to do than being stressed out and anxious and nervous and all of those things. All right, so I'm moving on to the you can do it too slide. I want to show you that you can start right where you are today. You don't need anything special to get started. And you have all the tools that you need, regardless of the type of book that you want to write. So moving on to tips for starting. Thank you for resharing that slide image. Okay, I was just checking in over here to make sure that there's no pressing comments or issues. Everybody seems to be here, and this is great. Okay. All right. So how do you get started? Well, first of all, now, don't let your mindset defeat you. It's for many people, mindset is the thing that holds them back from moving forward with their books. If this is not you, you're awesome, because I think almost everybody, so many people I know with, get stuck. And mindset can cover a whole range of emotions, from even those things like I don't have time can really be a mindset thing, because it's I don't prioritize this enough to make the time for it. And why? Maybe you truly are too busy. Maybe you just need an excuse for not doing it. Who knows? But mindset, what happens if we start thinking of, if you guys got to see the Women publishing interview that we did with the mindset panel. I loved it that Lorna said so often people are focused on something that's happening 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, that they create these stories based on this future event that has never even happened, and it stops them from taking action today. So if you are stuck in that place of, well, what if nobody likes my book? Or what if my characters are terrible? Or what if people challenge me and say, who are you to write a book on this topic? Or what if I can't find a good illustrator for the book? Or what if? Who cares? Right now, all you need to do is take those ideas that are in your mind and start putting them on paper. And to do this, the best way is to start with some type of a roadmap, a plan. You can start with a general brain dump, and some of these tactics will be different based on your genre of writing, but for the initial stages, it doesn't matter what you're trying to write. It really doesn't. There's lots of different methods out there: the mind map, the snowflake method. I mean, you can Google all kinds of things. But the important thing to note is that if you have an idea for something, the best thing you can do is to just start getting those ideas out on a piece of paper. Free flow, no stopping yourself, no trying to put it in order or organize it. And this is going to be really hard for some of you people, but just sitting down. And this is why I like the mind mapping method so much, because you just write your idea in the middle of the book. So let's say it's easier to do this one with nonfiction for me. So I want to write a book on changing my diet to eat clean. Okay, so that's my central idea. And so then I just start like spouting off all these ideas. I just write what are all the things that I would need to know, like why eat clean? What does clean eating mean? What foods are considered clean? What's definitely not clean? What are the benefits of eating clean? Some of these are repeats, of course. How much food can I eat a day if I'm eating clean? Like, what are some sample recipes that I might have? What if I'm raising kids that don't want to eat the things I'm eating? Like, you just keep spouting all of these down. Okay, so that's an idea. If you're writing a children's book, you can start thinking about the theme of the book. Okay, I want to write a book that helps children feel more socially accepted. So how am I going to do that? Okay, so it's going to star a little girl, and what happened? Maybe she did something unusual, and what was the storyline, and who are her friends, and who helped her, and what was all those things. If you're writing a fiction book, you still you'll hear the term pantser, and pantser means someone who likes to write by the seat of their pants. And that's fantastic. You can still write by the seat of your pants, but you have to know where you're going. So I can't just sit down today and say, I'm going to write a fiction book. I could, but I might not be quite as successful as if I said, okay, I'm going to write a fiction book, and it's going to star a really, really smart, intelligent, brave girl in France during World War II, who is taking part of the resistance and helping to smuggle Jews out of France during the Nazi occupation, or something like that, right? So I can either do a brain dump where I'm doing all of these different ideas all over the place, or I can just sit down and do a little bit more structured, where I can say, okay, in the beginning, I want this to happen. In the middle, I want this to happen. In the end, I want this to happen. And some people don't know where they want it to end, and that's okay. You can free flow through it. The point is, if you can kind of get some ideas on paper, is she going to have a best friend? Is she going to have a boyfriend? Is she going to be with her mom and dad, with her grandparents? Like, where's she going to live? You can start thinking about some of these ideas that will help you along the way. Memoir, if you're writing a memoir, the best place to do is to start and do a general, like everything you can remember about your life, and then figure out what it is you want that book to cover, and come back in and hone on the things that really get through that particular journey. The most important thing is that you just start. Pen to paper. What I mean by this is literally pen to paper. You want to, because studies have shown that you are more creative when you take out a pen and write in a paper. There's something different that happens in your mind when you are writing things down than does when you're typing. It's a different portion of your brain that takes over. I thought that was super interesting, but some people don't like to write by hand. And then you've got the trouble of, how do I get it from my notebook into my computer and all that kind of stuff. You can open up a Google Doc, you can open up a Word doc, you can open up a Evernote note, and just, get those ideas in there. If you are super busy and running around, traveling around, maybe you are delivering meals to people who can't leave their homes right now. You can use a transcription app on your phone, and you can literally talk your book to yourself, and then have that transcribed, and then you can edit that. So there's lots of ideas. Don't get stuck on the tools, that's another place that people get stuck. Like, do I need anything special to start writing my book? You don't need Scrivener yet. Scrivener's a great tool if you've heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, then just ignore that. But you don't need it to start. So don't let yourself get held up by the, I don't know how to start. Well, the how to start is what I just told you. Write down some ideas and then dig into those. Ever since interviewing some of the fiction authors, I've been really excited about trying to start some fiction. So what I need to decide is, what kind of genre am I going to be writing in? Am I writing a mystery, a thriller, a romance? What are those? And then from there, I'm going to decide, okay, what do I want to happen in the beginning, the middle, and the end? Who are those characters I want to bring in? I'm also finishing my Ditch the Fear and Just Market It book. So there again, what do I really want to cover? Who's my audience? Am I talking to people who have never marketed anything before in their life? Audience is a huge thing for nonfiction books when you're trying to, we're kind of going into the next slide now, which is determining what to write about. But audience is a big thing. Am I writing for people who've already published a book and need tools to like further their marketing efforts from there? Am I writing to anyone who's marketing a book? How am I going to make sure that I have the right elements included in that book, and then going and starting from there? Okay, if it's a brand new person, they need to know about this, this, and this, and picking one of those areas and starting. And if I don't feel inspired by that day, then maybe I start by we're creating my list of resources that I use every day or something like that. Okay. Determining what to write about. So this is more, I would say, for nonfiction. It could be for fiction writers, but I think most people who want to write a fiction book, you generally come into it knowing kind of what you want to write about. There are two things that I talk about all the time that I don't know why I haven't written a book on yet, and that is vampires. I love vampires. I need to just write the vampire book. Apparently it's not trending anymore, but vampires always come back. So, by the time I finish it, it'll probably be trending again. And then, I love World War II fiction. The Nightingale, I just thought that was one of the best books ever. I have pretty much anytime anybody tells me about a book about World War II set in Europe, I will buy it. I will read it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. And that's what I'm writing my book about, my fiction book. But it's a big historical fiction. If that's where you want to start, just know that that is wonderful. They are so great. People love them, but wow, they are difficult to write because there's a lot of research. Well, there's a lot of research on a lot of things. But anyway, that's another thing. Just don't get scared about all of those things. Sit down, start writing your ideas. It may evolve into something else through the process, and that is okay. Okay. Everybody with me? But for nonfiction, if anybody knows that you want to write a book and knows that you're an expert in your field, let's say you're a small business owner who sells hair products, and you feel like there are a lot of women. I did this incredibly interesting podcast interview, 2 of them now, with women who don't look like me, with women of color. And they were telling me about some of the issues that they have with their hair that I never had any idea was an issue. And now you've got this Free the Hair movement that's happening, and a lot of people talking about discrimination based on hair. So maybe you've decided you want to contribute to that discussion. So how do you contribute? Well, maybe you can start thinking about the things you want other people to know. You want someone else to know. So that's one very crazy, very different idea. Maybe you want to write a book to girls who want to be a beautician, who want to know how to do hair. I know nothing about doing hair, by the way. So this is just I wanted to pull a topic that I know nothing about, just to show that you can write a book about anything, and for any audience. Maybe you want to talk to entrepreneurs, what it was like to start a small business. Maybe you own a small business now and you had to close your small business because you're not allowed to be social distancing, and you want to start writing a book about what it was like to make it through this event, which is going to be the event. It's our 9/11, it's our World War II, it's our event that's going to shape so many things. So maybe you're thinking about, how can I take this and help others prepare for the future, help others prepare for road bumps they're coming across. Other easier ways to come up with it. What do you feel called to write about? Do you want to write a devotional? Do you want to, for children, for adults, for women? Do you want to write and then what do you need to write about? For me, I needed to write about how people can help, how mothers can find encouragement again, and that one day life will return to your new normal. And I needed to create a resource for mothers who lost a child. So that's what took over everything. And then what do people ask you about all the time? All of us have something that people ask us about all the time. How do you do? How did you? When did you decide to? What was it that you did? You may have a super interesting life that you've never shared the details about. So there's all kinds of things. Okay. So I just went into the what do you get asked the most slide. You can come up with a lot of ideas based on this. And then just determining, like my example here was, I get asked all the time, how do I write a book? How do I market a book? How do I publish a book? So start with where you're an expert and think about what you can write on about that topic. So I answered all three of those questions. First, I wrote ditch the fear and just write it. Now I'm writing ditch the fear and just market it. And next is ditch the fear and just publish it. So, that's how you can take those things and you can start small. Like, this is a great thing about the fiction world right now. Really short novellas are super hot. Really short anything is super hot because people just don't have the attention span for long books. So that's a good thing for us. All right, I'm on the preparation and planning with the outline, but I already kind of went into determining some things very vaguely from taking your brain dump and kind of saying, okay, here are all the things that I want to write about. You can organize all that stuff and then put it into a general outline so that you have this roadmap that will keep you moving forward when you get stumped. What's the next thing that's going to happen? What's the next thing I want to tell people? What do I really want them to know? What do I really want them to take away from this book? What are the key points and the key things that have to be accomplished? And that will guide you along the way. I wanted to let everybody know that if you do want Ditch the Fear and just write it, I have the PDF version of it out there for free. And I'm going to, for those of you who weren't able to bring up the slides, here is the link you got. So Pat, okay, I'm coming back over here to answer a couple questions right now. Pat says that she only reads long books. Well, you know what that means? You're not the only person that does, or they wouldn't be selling. So if you want to read that type of book and that's the book you want other people to read, then that's what you should be writing, because you know that if you're writing in that same genre, you know that people want that particular type of book and genre. On that note, this isn't really a webinar designed to tell you everything about the process of figuring out which type of book to write, et cetera, et cetera. But if you want to write in a specific genre, my best advice to you is to make sure that you know that genre well. And the way that you can do that is to read a lot in that genre. And Sophia, I think you asked a question about if you might try and publish in the United States, and I just I don't have an answer for you on that. I know I publish international clients, and there are people who publish internationally. So, yeah, it's kind of a big question that I would have to need a lot more back and forth with you on. So that's something you can send to us via email or ask in a forum or something like that. But okay, so I'm sure you can, anybody, as far as I know, there's no restrictions on authors pitching publishers in the US if they're not US. I publish people both in Canada and the UK and I don't see any reason why not. So, but that's a question you'd probably need to, I don't have an answer for you. I guess I'll put it that way and not stumble over trying to come up with that for you here. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, that's a great point as well. Sometimes you have too many ideas, and I struggle with that all the time. You want to hear something funny? I am in the process of writing 7 different books because I have so many different ideas. I have all of these different ideas on what I want to do, and if you got all of these full, intense, inspiring stories, Francesca, then I would say choose one and start there, or do a list of your top favorite. This is another, if you have too many ideas to write on and you don't know where to start, you can brain dump all the ideas and then go based on what you're feeling that day. I know it sounds really kind of woo-woo crazy, but some days you're just not inspired to write about the time that you saved a community of children when you jumped in front of the school bus and diverted it for whatever, and you'd rather write about the day that you got to meet the Dalai Lama. So there, you just get to choose based on what you're inspired by. Don't force the writing. I mean, there's times that you force the writing and other times that you don't, but I have tons and tons of ideas. So I'm just trying. I have to try and level the ADHD by saying, okay, what are my ultimate goals? And right now, my goals are based on the nonfiction books that I'm writing. Because of what I'm trying to grow in my community and because of what I'm trying to grow with my business, I want to finish Ditch the Fear and just market it, and Ditch the Fear and just publish it so that I can, do the things that I want to do with those. But I'm telling you, if I don't get these characters out of my head that have been living there for years and years and years, I'm going to have a problem. So what I want to do in this extra time is to carve out an hour or two, maybe on the weekends or 30 minutes in the evening or something like that, and sit down and try and make some forward progress with my fiction books as well. Because then it's not I can focus on my workbooks during my business hours and focus on my fun stuff during my my fiction stuff and the things that I'm doing just for my own ideas in the evenings. Okay, so let's see here. How do you know where to start? Well, Francesca, you can start at the beginning. That's a very, very general question. I don't know what type of genre. It's going to depend on the genre. It's going to depend on so many things. So if you can fill me in with a few more details, I can tell you. But the best place to start is whatever comes easiest to you. That's why I recommend doing one of these brain dumps and coming up with all the ideas, and picking one of those ideas that resonates with you in the moment and starting right there. You don't have to write your book in order. So anybody who's told you that it has to be written from start to finish, there's absolutely no reason why you have to write from start to finish. What you do need to know is, what do you want to accomplish in your book? What do you want the key takeaways to be? What do you want the lessons to be? What do you want the story beginning, middle, and end to be? What do you want to have as, all of those things? And then you can pick places based on your motivation and start there, work on those, and then put them together later. Let's see. If your book crosses several genres, would this be harder to market? Example, fantasy, Christian. I'm sure there is a subgenre that is Christian fantasy. And what you have to do is you have to do the work to find where those subgenres are and make sure that when you're marketing it to that audience, and that you're using all of the right keywords and categories to do that. Is it better to have a sequel, prequel? That I cannot really, I can't speak to that one. I'm sorry, Sophia. I don't write trilogies, so you're stumping me today. But yeah, so either prequel or first book in a trilogy. I mean, I think you need to start writing one of them. You're writing a sci-fi dystopian at the moment, 44,000 words. So I think I would finish one of your books and then get the next one as close to finish as possible, no matter what it is. The best thing you can do is have a book and then another one published not too long afterwards to really gain that momentum. But I don't know if you came in through the summit or if you saw any of the interviews, but Steph Green or Angela J. Ford, they're both fantasy writers. You can ask them more specifically, because I don't write fantasy or any of those, and I don't want to give you the wrong information. But I mean, I don't know that there's a specific answer to that one. I know a lot of people who write a book and then go back and write a prequel later. Okay, Francesca says she is referring to the situation where she's struggling with where you have too many personal life experiences to tell. I mean, better to start one. In your case, Francesca, what I would tell you to do is to start chronologically. That's the easiest thing to do. Pick a point in time with the first one that you want to start telling about, and then just write them out. And even if you're not doing an autobiography, like, you have to start with the content. So even if you wind up not using all of the material, it's best to do that. Okay. All right, back to my slides here. I want to keep on track here. So the key steps in the process for those of you who are new to this process. First of all, the writing, coming up with your outline, your plan, your writing. The reason I go over the key steps in the process is so that you have an idea of what's to come, because I find that many writers get into this process and then they don't really understand what's to come and when they should be expected to follow this. So I don't want to overwhelm you with this part. So I need you to compartmentalize in your brain right now that says, this is knowledge for me to know when I'm ready for it. I know it now. I know to be aware of it. But if you're here to learn about writing your book, now I want you to focus on that, on getting your ideas, on figuring out what you're going to write. And then you can come back to this information and say, okay, I need to come up with a plan that encompasses all of these timelines so that I know, because there are some things that you need to think about while you're still writing your book. For example, marketing. So many authors wait too long to start their marketing when in reality, they should have been starting if you're already 44,000 words into your book, you should be marketing already. You should be either doing a mock cover or working with a cover designer to have something so that you can start building your advanced reader crew, so that you can start building that excitement that a book is coming. Okay, so writing, you've got to outline, plan, and write. I'm on the key steps in the process slide right now. Editing, the key steps in this, you can choose to use beta readers if you would like. Beta readers are a group of 3 to 5 people. I would not use more than 5 people, especially if it's a super long book, because you have to incorporate all of their suggestions. But basically, these are the folks that you give your book to, preferably before you go to an editor, so that they can help you refine the book and save the editing process a little bit. But they need to be people who can give good feedback, who can give good information to you, and can help you basically copy edit, and perhaps even help you develop the book a little bit better. And then you can use tools like ProWriting Aid and other software like that to clean it up before you send it to a professional editor. For the production of the book, you have to think about things like your cover, your layout. Are you going to do an ebook and audiobook format, and at what point in the process? And then publishing, how you're going to publish, where you're going to go. And I listed some sites out here: KDP, Ingram Spark, Publish, Publish Drive. What all do you need for that? The ISBN, the copyright, the keywords, categories, all the metadata, all of that stuff. And then when are you starting your marketing process, and how are you weaving that through, and what are you setting as your budget and your objectives and all of those types of things. So again, not meant to super overwhelm you, but I think it's important for those of you who have never been through the process and you're planning on self-publishing, that these are the things you have to consider throughout the process. And the more you can become educated on those, the better you're going to be. Okay, if you have no roadmap, you will get lost. So I'm coming back to the idea on this. You have to have some sort of a plan, and not just for what you're writing, but for your entire publishing plan. If you think you'd rather go with a traditional or hybrid press or something like that to help you handle some of the other elements, then that needs to be part of your plan from early on, especially if you're writing a nonfiction book. You need to start querying agents early in the process. They don't expect you to have your book finished with a nonfiction book. There's lots of things to consider. But again, this is just for knowledge wise. I don't want you to get caught up in the process and completely lose sight, because then we'll go ahead and we'll wind up right back where we were, which is when I very, very first started this conversation, that said sometimes people get so worried about what's going to happen in the future that they decide it's too overwhelming and they put up that mind block. And instead of sitting down and writing your book right now you're thinking about all the other 8 million things that are happening and how you get them done. So do you need to be aware that these are things to consider? Yes. Do you need to eventually sit down and write out your plan? Yes. But for today, I want you to think about writing. All right. And then you have to just write it. I'm on the just write it slide. The book is not going to write and publish itself. You need to dedicate yourself to a writing schedule and block time in your schedule. As I mentioned earlier, we have this gift of time to us right now. If everything else is going to hell in a handbasket right now, at least most of us who are healthy and in a position where we are just, blockading ourselves in our homes, we have this gift of all this time that we didn't have before because we're not doing all the things that we were doing or going anywhere. So use it and create this habit. Everything in your life takes time to create as a habit. Writing every day becomes a habit. 21 to 30 days of doing it every day. Many scientific studies are out there on everything under the sun, right? And there have been studies done to show that just like anything else, writing is like a muscle. Your brain is a muscle. So if you exercise it, if you practice, if you do, practice with essays or blog posts or other types of writing, if you get feedback and work on your craft, like you are strengthening that muscle, and it gets better. Just like with exercising, if you're training for a marathon, you're not going to go for one run every other week. You're going to go for a run every day or every 3 days with a break. And then maybe you do lift weights on the 4th day instead of running, or you do sprints one day. It's the same with writing. You need to challenge your brain. Sprints are a thing in writing. It's sitting down for a short amount of time and just writing everything you can out on there. You can challenge yourself by writing other types of writing, or getting an exercise book and going through writing prompts and doing those types of things. Okay, so my question to you is, are you actually going to do the things you need to do to get your book finished in 2020? Even when life goes back to normal, will you keep going forward? Or next year, are you going to sit at your computer and scroll through your Facebook feed and see the next new amazing book about World War II women kicking butt who just got published, and you're like, that's my book again. I didn't get it out there. So I want to pledge to not be that person, and I'm going to get my fiction, one of them. I have to pick one. I have one about my time when I lived in Europe. I have one about the World War II stuff. I have got all these little short thrillers that I'm writing in my head, and I'm going to get one of them on paper. Okay, so this is the part where I want to talk to you about if you feel like you need help getting through the next part. I want to talk to you about tools and resources out there. I'm going to start with a big program, and I'm going to get smaller, okay? But for those of you who truly feel like you need extra support and extra guidance to get there, that's 100% normal. First of all, many people need accountability. Many people need somebody to help them determine the next steps. Many people need somebody who knows what they don't know to make sure they get it done right. So ways I can work with people if you are looking for that. And you know what? If I'm not your cup of tea, I speak very broadly for many people who do the same type of services that I do. So you can find other self-publishing coaches, you can find writing coaches and writing communities. I strongly encourage you to do so, even if it's not me. Find someone, find a group, find people to help you. You can find one-on-one coaching, you can find writing coaches, you can find book coaches and book shepherds who help you through the entire process of publishing to relieve you of that burden. And to me, that's one of the biggest things when I work one-on-one as a book coach. a publishing coach is to take that burden of all those other things that I told you about that distract from the writing, figuring out about the ISBN and the filing the copyright and getting the layout done and all those types of things. So there's lots of people who can help you with that. We have school, our WIP school, we have writing courses, we have a la carte packages, we have all kinds of ways to help people. And the big one that we are talking about right now that we start every April is a 6-month program, and it's called the WIP School. And you can find out more information if you go to bit.ly /WIP school. But I want to tell you a little bit about this program because it is your bachelor's degree in writing, publishing, and selling a book. And it is meant to be for the people who want all in, who want to know all the stuff, who want help in getting all the stuff done, from finding your target audience to building the platform, to bring in the right people, to creating that email list, to doing all those things, to the things you need to know about publishing, working with editors, finding editors, getting the interior layout, all of that stuff. Really highly focused on building savvy authors who can build savvy author businesses. So the whole shebang, business stuff, setting yourself up properly as a business, as an author, and all of those things. So you get support and coaching and training modules and implementation support and access to me and my team to help you go through it. So it's a big, big, big program. And that is at this link. Okay, then if that's not your cup of tea, because I know, not everybody has the time, energy, or financial ability to invest in a massive program, nor does everybody want all of those elements, right? Some of you may be at the point where you're just interested in specific types of help. Finding your audience, developing your email list, marketing your book, writing your book. You may be interested in things more on that nature. So we have lots of courses that are on our Thinkific site. It's writepublishsell.thinkific.com, which I'll put in here in just a second. And that will help you go through that. We have I forgot to mention, the Readers on Demand workshop is part of this time only. I am including the Readers on Demand workshop as part of the WIP school, because this program was developed by a woman named Carissa McGrath. She's one of my colleagues and I adore her. She's very smart at book marketing and in helping authors move through the process of finding the right readers. And she decided that she loved working with authors and business owners in general so much on mindset that she decided to step away from marketing and reached out to me to see if I would take over her program, because she didn't want all of her work to just go to the wayside. Incidentally, one of my authors had been through this program and was talking about what a cool program it was, because it shows you how to find your how to set up your website so that it follows a book buyer's path, if you will. So how a book buyer would go into a bookstore, you look at the cover, you read the description, you do these things, and walks them through this path on your website that gets them to check out your book, try your book for free, get on your email list, and then become a fan, a reader, so that you can develop these people, build the grow, like, and trust factor, and then the way to continue to bring new people through to your website that are the right people for you. And it's that entire process: the website, the email, development of the email list, development of the email sequence, with an entire email sequence created for you to obviously change to make sense for your name, your book, all of that kind of stuff. A Facebook ads strategy that's going to continue to move people through that route, the entire thing. But since it was her program, all the training videos currently are Carissa. So as I'm in the process of redoing the presentations and making sure that the Readers on Demand workshop also incorporates everything that I would like in there. For example, in this program, she teaches you how to use ActiveCampaign and ActiveCampaign only. ActiveCampaign is super cool because of the automations you can set up and the cool things that you can do, but it's a little bit too much for some people. It's too much for a lot of people. It's very much built towards the business owner. And if you're not planning on having to the bigger business owner, not just the author business owner. And if you're not planning on doing some of these really cool things. You don't need all of that. So I'm going to add in the MailChimp or MailerLite and ConvertKit training with the sequences for all of that and all that jazz. Anyway, because it's in a growth phase, if you will, and it's my first time running this program, I'm including it as a bonus. It was when Carissa ran this program itself as a 6-month program. She had I don't remember, over 50 students come through at, I think that's what she told me. Anyway, lots of students came through, and the package on that pricing was $5,200. So for this to be added as a bonus to another program at no additional cost is a still of a deal. And this is the only time you're going to be able to get Readers on Demand and the walkthrough and all of the support from it as a portion of something else at no extra charge. We do sell the self-paced only version, which means you get the modules and you get the stuff to load up to your website and all of that stuff. And I'm offering that again, because it's still in beta, because it's still Carissa doing all the videos. I am offering that at a very discounted price of $497. And this, I want to be very clear on who this one is for. This is for the author who is at this point in time super interested in building up their email list and in growing that email list and in growing their ideal readers, and they need help getting their website optimized for an author. And so we're not talking about big business websites where a book is a part of it. We're talking about people who are writing as their primary. That's what their website is primarily about, their books. So doing that, getting all of the email stuff set up, getting the email sequence in place, and creating and starting the ads campaign so that you're constantly running the right traffic. That's who that program is for specifically. But as part of the Women in Publishing, the WIP school, it's great. So, okay. So I mentioned you can get the $497 version on itself. You can also, I have many, 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 many other programs that are out there on the Write Publish Sell Thinkific course training program. And then the last slide shows you that I also have a free 5-day challenge that is out there completely free for you. If you're just getting started, this is where I would start. If you're not sure if you're moving forward with writing or not, it's right here. It's a free 5-day challenge. So you can go into that. For anybody who is looking at that 6-month program and wants to schedule a call with me, there is a link where you can schedule a call on that just to kind of talk through and determine if it's the right program for you. It is an intense program, y'all. I'm no joking around here, like taking everything I have learned in 6 months. I mean, in a decade, almost a decade, and I'm trying to make sure that you get the pieces that are most critical so that you're not spending a lot of time and energy trying to figure it all out. We've boiled it down. We've done enough launches over enough types of genres. We've done it all. We've done fiction, nonfiction, memoir, children's books, you know, and all of those things, and have skills for different paths and different goals and different, all that kind of stuff. So we're taking it, we're using our best practices, we're showing you how to do it, and then implementing alongside with you so that you can actually get things done. So that's what that's all about. But if anybody wants more information on that element, I am happy to hop on a call if you need, you know, to figure that out. Okay, the Readers on Demand by itself, if you go to that, to the main website, writepublishsell.thinkific.com, you'll see Readers on Demand right there at the top. But I'll click on the specific link for that and throw that in here. Okay. That is and if you just take off the everything past the .com, you will find your stuff. Sweet Tea, thank you for thanking me for that. So this has been a journey, right? And one of the things that we found, if you're willing, okay, I'm just going to step back and say, what you need to know is when you become a public figure, an author is a public figure, you need to be prepared for more than just how hard it's going to be to get your book written and published. You need to be prepared for the fact that not everybody's going to like you, and that the people who don't like you are the loudest of everybody out there. So anything you can do to toughen up that skin before you start getting out there, I think going to writing critique groups is a great way to start, because it puts you in front of people who are going to critique your work in a way that that you're not maybe used to. I don't know how many people watch American Idol or anything like that, but it always cracks me up when they bring somebody out on the stage who just gets out there and belts it. And you can tell that they think they are the best thing that's ever happened. Hold on a second. Internet is like internet overusage. Has ever told them that they aren't. So, and then their feelings are super hurt when they learn that they aren't. Oh my gosh. Can you turn off the TV, please? Sorry, that internet is just getting a little bit overloaded there. So hopefully I'm back. But there's a lot of things that that you have to be prepared for when you're out in front of people. So in answer to Sweet Tea, when I ran the Women in Publishing Conference 3 years ago, I got feedback that I was basically contributing to the problem because I was saying I was representing women and they looked like me. So we've made a very, very specific choice to open it up to make sure that we are representing all women, because it's important. It is important to know that we're in this together. And we want to make sure that and the more that I started talking about the topic, the more I became really interested in this whole diversity in publishing topic, which if y'all caught the interview with Brooke Warner, we talked a lot about that and how it is a bigger challenge for some segments of society than others. And it's important to recognize that. So thank you for thanking me for that. So anyway, the point is, you're going to get some criticism, and you need to be prepared for that. No matter what you're writing, people aren't going to like it, and it can be for a variety of reasons that people don't like it. So just be ready for that. If you want some good practice, you can sign up for a multi-level marketing and try and sell a product to people. That's great practice for getting no's and getting lots of interesting feedback from people. I'm just kidding. I've walked that path, and that was also a challenging thing. So, okay, where I want to leave you today is this. The reason I love what I do so much is that every time we publish a book, whether it's one of our authors, whether it's my book alone, whether it's a book for someone else, it is an amazing, amazing sense of achievement and just wonder. It's exciting every single time. When my friend and colleague Casey, who was our first traditionally published author, happens to live in my neighborhood, which is really cool. We go walking every day together. But I ordered print copies of her book, and she came to pick me up. We actually go to the same writing critique group. She came to pick me up the day they arrived, and I had this box of books in my hands, and I walked out of the door, and she knew that they were going to be coming, and she like jumps out of her car and is screaming and dancing and so excited, like her book, her passion that she's been writing basically since she was 13 years old, was here, and it was so exciting. So if you feel passionate about writing a book, just sit down and start writing. Make it a priority in your life. Don't get all caught up on the what if the world ends tomorrow? What if nobody likes my book? What if somebody tells me I don't have enough diversity in it? Don't worry about that right now. Those things will work out through the process. I do have a PDF of the slides, and I will make sure that gets sent out as part of the replay. Or we'll send it to the list of registrants. So, just don't let things stop you. Go download Ditch the Fear and just write it. I'm going to give the caveat that it is focused towards entrepreneurs who want to write a book to grow their business. But the beginning part is the same. The figuring out what tools you need to write your book, to figure out like what topics to write on, where to start, how you get going, how you get over the mindset issues, all of those types of things. You can go do that. Well, good, Sandy. I'm glad that worked out for you. So, just start, just write it. That's why I said it. The reason I said ditch the fear and just write it is because of the years of doing this. That's what I find. People get very caught up on just getting started and get super nervous about how do I start? Where do I start? What order do I write in? How do I publish? Just write it. So I would love it if you want to talk to me more about joining the program. This is, we come together as a group, we go through the training together, we do implementation time together. We have all kinds of guest experts coming in each month to talk about topics that they're smarter on than I am. For example, if we have a bunch of people who come in who are writing fantasy or trilogies or series or things like that, we'll make sure that we add somebody in who can come speak to that, to answer all those types of questions. It's a great process, and we learn a lot, and the accountability of having people help you and see you through the process is amazing. So I've enjoyed being here with all of you today. I will make sure we attach a PDF to the replay of this presentation, and you can see the slides. We have so many resources out there. At the writepublishsell.co is where our blog is. It's no M on the end, just writepublishsell.co. We have a blog out there that has a lot of basic information. We have the YouTube channel. So if it's not in your budget or your time frame to invest in training and programming, coaching, and all that kind of stuff, go to the Write Publish Sell on YouTube. And there we have lots of resources. And then the last place I wanted to invite you to is the community that we have just set up. It's a free community, and we are setting up groups for people to join so that they can talk to other writers who are working on the same topic. So fiction writers, nonfiction writers, all those kinds of things. We're going to have some critique groups that we can get together since we can't leave our houses. We're going to do some online critique groups, writing and critique groups, so you can come in and share your writing and get feedback. All sorts of good stuff. So there is a place for everyone. Jane, the time, thank you. If anybody else has any, I appreciate everybody who was here. If you need to run, I got it. If anybody wants to stick around and ask questions about the course, I am happy to answer them. And thank you, Sandy. I really appreciate that. So Doris is in the editing process soon. So who do I reach out to? I wanted to answer that question, and I'm sorry I didn't see it before. Reedsy is a great option. You can actually go in and you can select, they'll pull forth the editors for the type of project you're working on. I also have a blog post that talks specifically about finding an editor. Let me pull that up for you while I am answering the other question as well. But there's lots of, if you search editors on there, if you search for there's lots of information about editors. I would just be very careful. The thing that I like about Reedsy and other places like that is that they vet the editors. So you don't have to worry about falling into a situation where somebody charges you $5,000 and doesn't do anything, doesn't give you your money, or doesn't give you it back, or maybe you wrote a 10,000 word document and they charge you $5,000. So and yes, that's a good point, Pat. There are editors in publishing houses, freelance editors, all of those kinds of things. Now, if you're working with an editor and publishing a house, that would indicate, generally speaking, that you are publishing through that publishing house. So, okay, I'm going to come back up here and answer these questions. Jane asked what the time commitment to the course is. The time commitment is really what you want to put into it. I know that's a very vague and general thing, but that if you sit down and do actually all the content that we're asking you to do, it could be as long as or as short as an hour a week, or it could be hours a week, depending on what you need to do. So we go through and we're setting up a website. Well, if you don't have a website and we're going through it from scratch, then it's going to be as long as it takes you to get that part of it done. But also, you don't have to do it every day or every week. It can be that you pick out one day per week that you're working on it, and you go through and you do those things. In terms of the program itself, you'll be receiving online information through your student dashboard. It'll have a pre-recorded training session, some worksheets, some other things for you to do, some, depending on the subject, it might be just a full page of written information, like who we work with for cover design and how you contact them and what things you should ask and things like that. So you'll be given information that you can consume at your own schedule. And then each week we'll have an open hour Q&A session where you can come in and you can ask me anything related to whatever you're working on. It doesn't even have to be that monthly topic or whatnot. You can go at your own pace. So if you decide to join us, because we only open the doors in April, and then we don't open for enrollment again at this point in time until next April. So if you decide you want to be a part of the program, but you can't commit to the program until May or June, you can hop in whenever you're ready and catch up. So we have a private group and we do a weekly open office hours, if you will. So like this, we come together in a Zoom room. Anybody can ask me their questions. We're bringing in a guest expert, at least one every month. So that'll be about an hour-long workshop. And then we have a 90 minute to 2 hour training session with implementation. And this is what I think makes my program different than anybody else's. A lot of programs, you get access to content, you're required to go in and do it and complete it. And if you're like me, you have like 17 courses that you bought and never made it past like lesson 2 because life just got in the way. Well, each month we have a particular thing that we're focusing on, and we have a training session that goes over it. Like month 1, we're figuring out who our target audience is. No matter where you are in the process, even if you're just starting your book, you need to know who you're writing your book for and who you're trying to sell it to. So we have a training session on how, where, when, why, what. And then we have an implementation session where we stay together in the Zoom room. My team is there. I'm there. As you're going through the work materials and figuring things out, you can say, okay, I'm stuck on this part, or I have a question on this, or what about this, or am I doing it right, or whatever. So that you have that 2 hour window where you're getting that immediate feedback. And then you also have there's 2 levels. There's the main level, the main program, and then we have the VIP program, which is obviously a little bit of an increase in price. But with that level, it's for the people who really need a bit extra one-to-one touch and support. So we'll be providing one-on-one feedback through as you're writing your email sequence, as you're doing, and we give you a template to start from, so it's not from scratch, but we'll give that one-to-one feedback. You get a call, a 30-minute call with me, and then a 30-minute you can choose to speak to my Instagram and social media person or my web tech person. You get a call with them each month. Everybody who's in the baseline program gets 1 call in the course of the program with me and with my team members, and people who are VIP get 1 each month. Okay, so let's see. I think so to answer that question, it could take you an hour to 2 a week. It could take you an hour to 2 a month. It really depends on how much you need to do on each one, how comfortable you are with each of these things. If you're just setting up, if you need more time and energy, it could take a little bit more time. But it's the long game. Like, we're teaching you in 6 months what is going to be years of implementation. Okay, so I want people to understand that too, is that I'm giving you the tools and the resources and teaching you the knowledge about it, but you may not use it until months from now, but it's there for you when you're ready. Okay, any thoughts about seniors entering the writing market? I love seniors entering the writing market. You want to know something funny? Last year, we had 15 people go through the program. And of those 15 people, I would say more than half of them, I'm trying to run through the list here of who was in there. I'd say 3/4 of them actually were 55 or older. And I think part of it is because they've reached the point in life where they're either retired or getting close to retired, or they have more time in life because their children are gone and they have, they're like, I've always wanted to write this book, I'm going to do it. Or they're starting a second or third career. Carolyn is like starting her 3rd career with her books. And it was great. But the other thing is that because they weren't busy working outside of the home or doing other types of things like this, they were able to come and participate. And those women showed up every single week or every single training session. And it was really a great experience. So Beverly, Carol, one of my authors right now, she's 72 years old and we're publishing her first book in October. So there's no reason why seniors can't be in this game too. It's not self-paced, Maritza. It's a combination of self-paced and guided. So it's self-paced in the fact that, so this is yes and no question. It's self-paced in the fact that you're going to get access to a lot of content that you can consume on your own time, additional stuff to read into, et cetera, et cetera. The content will drop at the beginning of the month. You can open it and do it whenever you want to once it's dropped. But then it's not self-paced because we do have a specific plan and timeline of what we are doing each month together. And the cool thing is that if you can't join us in month 1 or 2, or you do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can't do 5 and 6 until later, like you can still come back to it. Everything's recorded. The group stays open. So even if we finish our official Q&A sessions, et cetera, the group is still open. People still come in and ask questions. It's an ongoing thing. So it's not like at the end of October, we are done, boom, nothing more. You can continue on with the program. And then you also have the option each year to renew and stay in the program. So 5 of the women from last year have decided to roll over into this year, and they're not paying the cost of the program. Again, they paid a very small recommittal fee or whatever. And they're rolling back over and they're going all through it again, which is cool because we have new workshops, we have new content, we have new guest speakers, all of those types of things. Let's see. Can you explain again what the $4.95 course is versus the Reader on Demand versus the 5-day challenge? Okay, so we have the Readers on Demand is a brand new workshop that is a $5,200 6-month program that was designed to be a live program like this other one, where you meet once or twice, you go through the training, everybody goes through together. Every time you get to a stopping point, you do the work, you submit the work for feedback, and so on. But it can also be done in a self-paced version. And the Readers on Demand program is based on people who are basically wanting to grow their readers and setting up and need help getting their website set up, their email list set up, and their ads set up. So they have this continuous cycle of ads running to the target audience that are sending them to their website, and then the website takes them through a specific journey to get them on their email list, and then the email process that grows them as readers and fans. So it's a very specific process for that level of thing. So it works for people, it works for anybody who has a basic website that is intending for people to come and grow them as readers. It's a very specific geared towards that process. So that's the Readers on Demand program. Because it is brand new, because I'm beta testing it right now, and I'm offering it at the self-paced version to anyone who wants it, and then as an add-on into the WIP school, right now it is priced at $4.97 because I have to go in and I have to recreate the content. Right now, the previous owner has all the videos. So it's Carissa. She's lovely. She did great training, but it's my program now, so I need the videos to be me. So I'm going through, I'm redoing some of it. So it's set at a super low price right now because it's in transition. The content is still there. The uploads are still there. The email sequence is still there. Like the juice, the value of the program is still in it, but it's new to me, and there may be some bumps in the road. So that's why we set it at such a low price from that. Okay, then and that is the Readers on Demand workshop, which is the one that's in beta. Now the Grow Your Author platform course, we have a bundle and a course, and it's a Grow Your Platform, and it is focused, it's a very similar program, but it's focused on a bigger spectrum. It's not just on that process of send people to your website, once they're on your website, get them on your email list and have an email list. It's a larger focus on all kinds of activities that you can be doing to grow your platform. So getting on podcasts and doing this and doing that, and like the whole, like, how do I grow my audience from a big picture thingy. And then you have the 5-day challenge is just a free challenge that I just put out there. It's very simple, very basic things that you can do to start working on growing your author platform. And it's just a very basic freebie that we put out there to get people on the right track that aren't either ready to commit to a course for whatever reason, time, money, trust, if they don't know me well enough yet, and getting on there. So, and then there's all kinds of other courses right now that are just short snippets of those. So we have very specific, like a small market your book course that's about creating your plan and ideas on how to get started moving with your strategy. We have a how to pitch podcast, so it's very specific if you want to be a guest on podcasts as part of growing your platform. How to start blogging. So we have some other very small, very specific courses. And then WIP School is everything I know how to teach about publishing and marketing a book all in one place. It's for those of you who are interested but want to know if it's about writing your book, here's what I have to say about that. I am not a writing coach, as in I will not be like looking at what you're writing and providing feedback on your writing. However, we will provide like accountability to make sure that you are still moving forward in your action steps. And if nothing else, as you're starting to do all of these other things, it reminds you of what you're trying to do. Last year in the program, there was only one person who came in that was already into the editing process of their book. When she came through the program, we had a couple of people who were done with their books actually, and were coming back through the program to pick up their marketing and all of that kind of stuff. But most people were either just starting their book or thinking about their book or somewhere in the writing process. And like Carol, for example, that I just told you about, her first book publishes in October. So she was writing her book throughout this entire process, and we were keeping her on track and motivated to keep moving ahead. But we were also doing all the things that needed to happen so that once it was ready to go to the editor, like she already had, we got her website done and up. We got her email CRM set up. We got her prepared for all these things. She learned about which route that she wanted to take for publishing, and she wound up submitting to a hybrid publisher instead of self-publishing. So it's the full package of an author business. So if you're looking to be a really savvy author, it's also a great program for people who are thinking about expanding services or doing services for other people to teach you all the things that you need to know to help to know about the publishing industry, but not like, we're not going to get into the weeds on the publishing industry. Like, I teach you the things that you need to know to make smart decisions and to make sure that you're making the right choices for what you need to invest in and where you should spend your time. But to be honest, the largest part of the focus is building your author platform and teaching you how to market yourself as an author and how to market your book and how to continue to grow that. Because hands down, the number one thing I have seen year after year, author after author, is that no matter how good the book is, they start too late in the marketing. They don't have the right audience identified. They have not spent enough time building that audience. And the book launch is not what they expected because they just didn't have the numbers to be successful. And so from that standpoint, if you've already published one book, it's your opportunity to go back and fix everything. And that happens a lot. We tweak, we go back, we change things, we redo them. That's basically the WIP school. This is the 5th year, and every year it's different and new content because each year I learn more, I progress, I share that information. I determine what the focus should be on based on what I'm seeing globally as a problem or a stopping point or something holding people back. And we continue to grow the program and to change the program and to add to the program and to take away things that aren't as relevant. We used to have the first entire month was on writing the book. And I found that was really something that we don't need to spend so much time on, because that was like the least of the issues that people were having problems with. But that's a bonus module. So if somebody needs a jump start or needs some help with that, they can go in and look at the content and have that available to them. So, all right. If you are able to get a big publishing company, Random House, to take on your book, do you need to do all this marketing? You absolutely are still going to market. The thing with a big company like Random House, Penguin, Tarcher, Simon and Schuster, Scholastic, any of these really, really big companies, is that they are a business that publishes books, but they are looking to make money, period. So in that process of looking to make money, they're looking for the books that are going to make them the most money. So they look at your book, they determine if it's a book that's going to sell, if they've had other books similar to that lately, you know, what all kinds of things go into deciding whether they're going to bring on an author or not. But a very big piece of that puzzle is, can this author sell this book? And there's a lot of things that go into that, but often it has to do with your platform. So if you were on the presentation, on the marketing presentation that we gave the other day, it was about E.L. James, who wrote 50 Shades of Grey. And a lot of people cite that as an overnight success. That book was anything but an overnight success. She had been publishing her book on fan fiction, writing, growing her platform, doing all this stuff, getting her book out into the world. She self-published, and it was all over the place because she had so many fans at this point in time that publishers and editors started hearing about it, and it landed in the hands of a woman who was from, well, I can't remember which big publishing house wound up taking her, but she got a hold of the book because everyone was talking about it, and she read it and she was like, oh my gosh, we have to have this. And she reached out and they wound up signing her to republish the book traditionally, and the rights to the next books in the series. But when she came out the gate, she already had 5 million fans because of the time that she'd built into that. So you know, you have to put on your publisher's hat here and think, what is going to be a big benefit to them? You know, why would they want my book? And maybe it is a book that just they need and will love, and they may overlook audience size if it's something that fills a need that they need to fill, right? But otherwise it could come down to how much. And then when you get into, once they've picked you up, then that's where the magic happens, because they do have the money to throw behind their authors in normal situations. You are going to get galley copies printed and sent out all over the place. You're going to get sent places so that people see you and hear you, and and they'll put the publicity behind you, but you have to do the work to get there in the first place. And then once the publicity of your launch ends, then it's still up to you to make sure that you're continuing to market. So marketing is a skill that it doesn't matter which route to publishing you go with, you need to know. Was that the case for Educated by Tara W? I have to tell you, I don't know about that book, but I will look it up. Educated by Tara W. And you know what? There are certain situations where you are, because of your story and because of what you've gone through and because of what the market needs, all rules are thrown out. So I'll look this up and see if I can find anything out about it. But you know, it's really going to depend. I see if you Google it, there's all kinds of, she's on Ellen, she's on all over the place. So cool. I love going out and doing investigation on overnight successes and how people got there. So thank you for that. Okay, does anybody else have any questions for me? It's been an hour and a half here. I'm getting very thirsty. I have a feeling I might have put some people to sleep. So, Sweet Tea, I'm not going to make any promises on timelines here because I have kids home with me for the foreseeable future. So I will go out and try and do some research on that, but I don't know if you're following the Women in Publishing Summit. It's womeninpublishingsummit.com. That's probably the place I would post that blog post, but I don't know. I haven't written any new content lately, so this might be a great and fun thing to do for me to like get that going again and something fun and inspirational. So maybe I'll do that sooner rather than later. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yay. Thank you. Okay. So keep an eye on the blog, and we're going to try and make it a goal to get something new out each week, just depending on how life is, how that goes. Okay. One more. What is the best place to start with you for a beginning writer? Okay. So there are lots of ways to start, and this is depending on your need. I work with writers who are just getting started out. I do a coaching package, basically, that is um, an 8-session, 30-minute sessions. We come together, we go through what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to write, plan out the outline if you need that done, figure out a time frame and schedule. It's really up to you what you need. If you need somebody to hold you accountable, to set deadlines for you, and coming back and getting together and going over all of that stuff, I'm very flexible on how those sessions are used. But it's a $1,500 fee for that particular thing. We do all kinds of stuff. We do project management. We can set up like the schedules for all of that kind of stuff. I have publishing packages. I have the courses. If budget is an issue for you, you can budget. You can do a 1-hour session with me just to get going, and then feel out what you need from there. Or you can start with some of my courses. If you're really, truly, truly just getting started, you might want to start with the From Idea to Outline 1-hour workshop, which is on the Thinkific page as well. If you need the accountability, if you need somebody to work with you to specifically answer your questions and guide you through the process, then I always think that doing either the coaching packages or scheduling one-on-one call or something like that is the better place to begin than a course. Because unless you just are that, some people, that's the way they learn. They want to just get the download, they want to go through, they want to watch the video and do the work and start from there. Other people won't ever actually do that. They'll think they're going to do it. It'll sound great. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this right now. When you download Ditch the Fear and just write it for free, you actually get a $10 coupon off of it. So it's actually only $17. So I'll put that link in here again if for anybody who is thinking that they just need to help get started with their outline. But yes, so Sandy, if you have more specific questions on that, on what you're looking for, you can send me an email, or I do a kind of a try it before you buy it 30-minute session, which is at a discounted rate. And I'll put that link in here. So it really depends on what you're looking for and what you're hoping to get from the process. Do you need a coach? Do you need a shepherd? Do you need somebody to help you come up with ideas? What do you need? So if you want to send me an email or reach out to me some way and let me know specifically what you're looking for, that would be great. And I can help you that way. But yeah, and then of course we have the blog, the website, the community that I shared, and all of those places where you can come and hang out and all that. So, okay. Well, thank you so much for hanging around with me. I didn't expect to go quite this long today, but as you guys might have learned by now, I really enjoy talking about this topic, and I'm super passionate about it. It's fun. I love it. It's a great way to not only, it's a win-win situation. Like, most of us are writers because we love to write, but it also has the benefit of doing something for other people too. So that's awesome. And, have a great day. I hope you learned something valuable from here. If you're not already registered, we have another webinar coming up next week, and it is the 5 most common mistakes that new authors make and how to avoid them. So that's another fun way. And you've heard the whole pitch of all my programs, so if you don't want to stick around for the for that part, you already know what's coming. But we'll go through some common mistakes and how to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success by not doing those. And yeah, have a great day, and we'll talk soon. All right, how do I end this? Stop broadcast.